Good day, grade 10s, and welcome to the very first lesson in climatology. Today we will be dealing with the structure of the atmosphere. Now, one thing that is exceptionally important is that you understand the definitions that you come across within the entirety of climatology and geography as a whole, because definitions tend to make up at least 15 marks of each 60-mark section within your exams. So already you have that 7 and 8 mark questions that are based purely on the definitions and knowing them. Then you have your question 2, 3, 4, and 5, where even mixed within them, you'll also sometimes need to define certain aspects. So you could make up even up to 25 marks purely on definitions. So it is very, very important that you do pay attention to the definitions and that you are in fact able to then relay these definitions within an exam paper. So firstly, as we now kick off with this section of climatology, you need to understand the definition of the atmosphere. So the atmosphere is a thin layer of gases that surrounds the Earth, but it also makes life on Earth possible. So without the atmosphere, we would not be able to survive on Earth. There would be no way for us to survive at all. The atmosphere is extremely important for life on Earth. Then, interesting thing to note, the amount of gases that are present within the atmosphere will decrease as the distance from the surface of the Earth increases. In other words, when there's an increase in height or altitude, that will lead to a decrease in the amount of gases that are present. So in other words, the higher you go into the atmosphere, the less gases there will be. They will start decreasing the further you go up into the atmosphere. That's why sometimes people will refer to it as the air getting thin as they climb like a very high mountain or something. It's because gases become less present the higher you go into our atmosphere. Now, there are four very, very important layers in the atmosphere, and it's important that you know each of them, as well as their characteristics, as well as the boundaries that separate these different layers from one another. So you'll see starting at the bottom, and this is the layer in which we all live. This is the layer we need to survive, and where all the weather and everything takes place in this layer. And that is this one known as the troposphere. That is your lowest layer of the atmosphere. So your first layer, you can say. That is your troposphere. Then dividing the troposphere from the stratosphere, you have a boundary which is known as the tropopause. So all these boundaries are known as pauses. That is what they are known as pauses. So you have the troposphere, then you have the tropopause. Then you get to the next layer. The next layer is known as the stratosphere. So the stratosphere is your second layer. Then you have the boundary again, the stratopause. Then you have the mesosphere. Here's your third layer. You have that boundary again called the mesopause. And then you have the thermosphere. So after the thermosphere, there's not really a boundary there. Then you get like the exosphere and that. But these are the four important layers that you need to know and comprehend as you go into any of your exams. You need to know these four layers of the atmosphere. So let's take a deep dive into each one of these and see what their characteristics are. Starting with the troposphere. So the troposphere is the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere, and it extends from our Earth's surface up to about 15 kilometers above the surface. So in width, it's about 15 kilometers that this troposphere is. It contains approximately 75 to 80% of the atmosphere's mass. In other words, most of the atmospheric gases are present right here in the troposphere. And it is also where all of the weather changes and phenomena occur. So your thunderstorms, your storm, your rain, your hail, all precipitation, all weather-related things occur in this layer, and only in this layer. That is where it occurs. Now this layer is crucial for all life on Earth, as it contains the air that we breathe and the water vapor that forms the various weather patterns. Then also take note that within this layer there is a positive lapse rate, which means that in this layer the temperatures will decrease with an increase in height. Now, don't get confused because it's called a positive lapse rate. A positive lapse rate just means that there is a decrease, meaning that a negative lapse rate will mean that there is an increase. I know it sounds strange saying, positive lapse rate means a decrease and negative an increase, but these are the terms that are used to describe the increases and decreases of the temperature. In other words, what happens to the temperature with an increase in height. Then, as mentioned before, this layer is then separated from the stratosphere by the boundary known as the tropopause between the upper level of the troposphere and stratosphere. That there is this upper level of the troposphere separating these two layers. That is called your tropopause. So if you're given an image where you need to now identify or label any of these layers or maybe these boundaries separating them, this is what you will then look for. Even you can get a sketch where they show the lapse rate, so that there's an increase in temperature or decrease in temperature depending on an increase in height. These are things you need to be able to identify on whatever sketch or scenario you may be given within any of your tests and exams. Now, a question that does come up quite regularly is they would ask you, why do airplanes fly in the upper, or they might say that very upper part of the troposphere, bottom part of the stratosphere? They might ask you, why do the airplanes fly there? Why exactly do they fly there? So you see, they fly primarily then in that top part of the troposphere, which would also constitute that lower part of the stratosphere. They fly there because it does the following. It maximizes their fuel efficiency, and obviously, since all weather takes place in the troposphere, you fly right above it to avoid all the weather. Okay? So you avoid all that weather. So in other words, that helps you to have a relatively turbulence-free flight. So those are the two reasons you would give. Why do airplanes fly in this upper level of the troposphere, this lower level of the stratosphere? So whatever way they phrase it, just remember that airplanes fly above this, so they avoid all the weather changes and phenomena that occur in this layer. Next, you find the stratosphere. So your stratosphere is the second layer. Okay, this is also the second lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere, and it is above the troposphere. This will then extend from that 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface up to 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. It contains only around 19% of the atmosphere's mass. However, it contains very little water vapor. So there will not be precipitation, cloud formation, evaporation, all that stuff. Weather is not going to occur in this layer of the atmosphere. It will not be present. It is present in the troposphere, but not in the stratosphere. There's only 90% of the entire atmosphere's mass there. Now this layer now has what is known as a negative lapse rate, meaning all the temperatures will now increase with an increase in height. Whereas with positive, it would decrease with an increase in height. With a negative lapse rate, it means the temperature will increase with an increase in height. But now, what makes the stratosphere so extremely vital and important to us? Because this is in fact the layer where we find the ozone layer. This is where we find the ozone layer. Now, it will be very important for you to understand the ozone layer, be able to say what is it comprised of, what its functions are, how it protects us. So this is a very essential thing to know. And we will be looking at the ozone layer in far greater detail, but you need to know where it is located and you need to know exactly in which layer it is located and be able to answer accordingly. So the stratosphere is the layer that contains the ozone layer. But now, the ozone forms a protective layer shielding life on Earth from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation because it absorbs them. It absorbs the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. And it is this absorption that then causes the temperatures to increase within this layer. That's why we have this negative slab rate. That is why we can see that there's an increase with an increase in height, because of the absorption of the UV rays by this ozone layer. Now, just again, to bring your focus back to what I've mentioned before, airplanes would travel in the lower part of this layer as it reduces turbulence, improves fuel efficiency, also avoids all weather conditions in the troposphere, which leads to a smoother and more economic flight experience. That is something which you can take a note of, and you can almost be guaranteed this question will appear somewhere at some point. Then we get the mesosphere. So this is the third layer of the atmosphere and is situated right above the stratosphere. It extends from 50 kilometers above the surface of the Earth to 85 kilometers above the surface. This layer has a positive lapse rate, which means temperature will then decrease with an increase in height or altitude. This layer is also the layer which reaches the coldest temperatures in the atmosphere. So these temperatures can be about minus 90 degrees Celsius, minus 90. So that is extremely cold. So this layer is known then for having the coldest temperatures. Then you have that this layer will consist mainly of oxygen, nitrogen, and other trace gases. These gases are also so thick in this layer that they slow down meteors, resulting in them burning up before they can reach the Earth's surface. Then finally you have the thermosphere. Now this is the fourth layer of the Earth's atmosphere, and it's located above the mesosphere and below the exosphere, extending from about 85 kilometers to 550 kilometers above the Earth's surface. So this layer is characterized by increasing temperatures due to the absorption of high energy solar radiation, which can now reach up to 2,500 degrees Celsius. That is like, wow, that is excruciatingly hot. So the thermosphere is also known for a phenomena such as the aurora borealis, and it is where the Kármán line, often considered to be the boundary of space, is located. You know the movies with the Final Frontier, etc. There you've got the Kármán line. That is the boundary of space. So it's now completely different to the pauses. We now know that boundary as the Kármán line, which is then the boundary to space. And additionally, with this now, it contains a significant concentration of ionized gases, and it is also, interestingly enough, where many satellites orbit the Earth. So this is also where you will find your satellites, in the thermosphere. That is where you will find your satellites. Now, let's take a look at one of the images most often given within tests and exams. As you can see there at the bottom, you have your troposphere, and notice again the positive lapse rate. There is a decrease in temperature with an increase in height. You see the tropopause there indicated by that dotted line. You see a negative lapse rate because we have the ozone layer there now in the stratosphere absorbing the UV rays, thus causing an increase in temperature with an increase in height. Then we get again to the stratopause. Then we see now a positive lapse rate again because there's a decrease in temperature. And remember, the mesosphere is your coldest layer, right? The coldest layer, up to minus 90, as you can see there, minus 90. Then you have your thermosphere. You have a negative lapse rate again, an increase in temperature with an increase in height, because now there's this direct sunlight, basically, that direct radiation into this layer, causing this major increase in temperature, making this most definitely the hottest layer by far. I mean 2500 degrees Celsius. So these are your four layers and their characteristics, along with the boundaries that separate each of them, and why they are important to us. May you all have a wonderful day.